What's good, good people? Vets, let's talk. We got a special guest in front of the formation today, leading the charge. Sergeant First Class Shannon Ward. Hey, man, before we get started, I'd like you guys to click that like, share, and subscribe. You already know what I say. HBO special. Help a bro ham out. Hey, man, how you doing, Shannon? How you doing today, man?
Man, I am blessed, highly favored. It's great to be above ground and be able to just chop it up with my brother and jump into this conversation.
That's what it's all about, man. The topic is self-care. Oh, sorry, I had to mention I'm your host, Don. I'm not gonna put my full name out there because I don't need you creepy creeps researching me. You're probably gonna do that anyway. But anyway, I'm your host, Don, and the topic today is self-care. It's a topic that probably a lot of people need. I know I need it on a daily because these videos are not just for people. It's also for me. You got to do your self checks and see where you are as far as where you need to go and what you need to do. So this is going to be helpful for me as well as somebody else. But if it's not for you, please share this. So share it with somebody that you think need the message. So you want to hop into it real quick, or you want to have a little conversation? Are you ready?
However you want to start it off, man.
All right, man. I want to ask you, like, even though we in the same state, we got different time zones. How does the weather down there?
Man, so now it's starting to cool off, man. Like, yesterday was 79. Today gonna be 80. But Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're gonna be like 95, 96. And then by Friday, we're supposed to be back in the 80s. So, we're in that weird time of year where it's transitioning. It can get into the 50s at night, but during the day, it'll definitely get back up to the 90s. But the 100-day temperatures, I think we had 69 days of 100 or better. Them days are over.
Oh yeah.
So, and to be honest with you, man, when you used to 105 or 107 or 108, when the temperature dropped to 90 degrees, you actually want to go outside and play, man. Like, man, it feels good today. 90 degrees though, you know?
Right. That's why I went for that long walk this morning. Hey man, I like to ask people, man. I don't think I asked you on the last interview. This is your second interview. Each city or state got their staple food. I want to ask you because briskets are real big in Texas, but I don't know about El Paso. What's like a food staple in El Paso? Is it still just brisket all around?
So brisket definitely is a staple. If you ever come to El Paso, and you gotta hit up Leo's. It's on the west side of El Paso. They have some of the most amazing brisket tacos. Some people like L&J's Cafe. It's by the old graveyard. And also another one that's in the northeast is called Kiki. That's another Mexican diner that's extremely great. We also have something similar to an IHOP. It's called Buttersmith. So it's like an IHOP. They do fresh pies. It's amazing food, to be honest with you. So if you're ever down here and you want to check out a couple, those are just a couple. But I mean, El Paso is like a treasure hunt, man. We don't got the big attractions like a San Antonio or a Houston. And trust me, I actually appreciate that. It's the big city with the hometown feel. That's one of the things that really drew me to staying in El Paso. I mean, the cost of living has went up. The pandemic caused, which is, I mean, I'm not mad at them. I would have done the same thing. A lot of people from Cali moved from Cali to Texas, but what it did was raise the cost of living up, and the jobs haven't matched the cost of living of the money that people are bringing in, which caused taxes to raise up. But it'll eventually stabilize at some point. But I mean, overall, man, El Paso is a great city. It's not the most diverse city. I think it's 94% Hispanic, uh, like 5% Caucasian, and the rest is everybody else, blacks, Asians, and whoever else may follow. We have our issues. We definitely have a crisis with the migrants at the border, but El Paso is a pretty resilient city, and we always find a way to come out on top.
Man, that's good stuff, man. Appreciate you for adding that in there, bro. I appreciate you for that. But let's jump on in these questions real quick, man.
Man, let's get it, bro.
How are you currently managing your physical and mental health needs on a daily basis?
So that's a tricky one, and let me explain why that's a tricky one. because most veterans are hard headed. So this is something that I've come to realize after being out in the military now for almost 5 years. I've been retired for almost 5 years. At some point, you have to realize that you're not in the military. And when a lot of times when I talk to most veterans, they still have the mentality that I'm in the military, I'm a hard charger, I can still do 1, 2, and 3. But let me let you know something. The It was things the 30-year-old me could do that the 20-year-old couldn't do. It was things the 30-year-old me that the 40-year-old me couldn't do. It was things that the 40-year-old me could do that the 42-year-old me can't do. What I'm saying is, at some point, you have to put your life into perspective and realize that you're not that young 18-year-old whippersnapper that can do all of that crazy uh, 80-pound rope, 12-mile rucksack. You At some point you have to realize that you serve your time. You've been faithful to your country, and when I say serve your time, let me quantify that. So what you didn't do to you did something that less than 99% of the people in this country would do, because only 1% of the country served in the military. So think about that. We have over 385 million people in this country. 1% of that 385 million decided to raise their hand and to fight for this country. Think about it. So you did something that less than 1% of 385 million people do. So if you served, even if it was the National Guard or the Reserve or active duty, you did your part. So first you have to understand that. And in understanding that, you have to understand that you're a hero. Okay. I know people quantify hero as, oh, they were in combat and they were shooting people. But this is something I would tell you, and I know some of the infantry and combat arms people are not gonna hear this. Me being food service, sometimes I got shot at and blown up doing law packs and other things more than them guys were. But nobody talks about that.
Nobody talks about that.
Nobody talks about that. You know, some days, I mean, Don, you was rolling at that last deployment. Some days we were doing 3, 4 log packs a day. We would drop off stuff, come back, reload, drop off stuff, and y'all take a 3-hour break. We going out as soon as it get dark. You would go out again. You would run and do your log packs, and people didn't see everything that went into that. The stress and how the non-combat arms. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, because this is how I do it. When people be like, "Man, I was infantry, you was a cook." I'd be like, let me put it to you this way. I know people say Jordan the GOAT, but if you take Scottie Pippen out of the equation, Michael don't get 6 rings. I don't care what nobody says. You take Pippen out, there it is, combat action days. I am with you, brother. You know what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making is, everybody has to support everybody to have a successful mission. That's the point I'm bringing in. So part of managing self-care is realizing that you almost got to be like John Rambo. My war is over. you know, you have to make that transition from active duty military, or even if it's reserved or whatever you're in, mentality, to I'm trying to incorporate myself into the normal civilian life. In doing that, people are not going to have your mentality. They're not going to come to work 15 or 20 minutes early. They may not stay late. I ain't getting paid. I ain't staying late. Matter of fact, I done developed that. And my job, if I ain't getting overtime, see you tomorrow. I'm just saying.
Hey, that's real. That's real.
It is what it is. So we have to understand the transition that we're making from military to civilian. That's the first part of managing your physical and mental needs. Here's the second thing from my perspective. I didn't try to get another stressful job. Um, Anything that dealt with the military. I know some people like doing law enforcement and border patrol, and if that's you, I salute you. Congratulations. And congratulations. I thank you for that. But you need to find something that works for you. You don't want uh, a you don't want a job that you might be a pencil pusher, but you don't need something where you are just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You got to find that balance. And what I find with a lot of veterans is we go from one stressful thing to another and not give our bodies and minds time to adjust to being a civilian. Am I making sense to you?
Man, totally. Yes.
And we have to give ourselves that transition. Like I'm gonna tell you something. In my last video, I told you I had a job before I retired, and I
Right.
and I did. While I really, really thank God for that job, don't misunderstand me. I wouldn't have turned that job down. The older, wiser me should have took 90 days before I looked for jobs
Right.
because I needed that time to decompress. I'm just completing 21 years of military. And I took the green suit off, and the next day I put on civilians and I'm in the workforce. Now, I know some people will say, hey, that's a match made in heaven. However, it didn't give me time to deal with my physical needs, my mental needs, my emotional needs. So a lot of times with veterans, we have to stop and take a knee. There's nothing wrong with taking a knee and getting yourself together. In the military, and I believe this is bad juju. I understand the military doctrine, but we had this thing: drive on, drive on, drive on, drive on. Sometime in the process of driving, no, man, you killing yourself. You killing yourself mentally. You killing your body physically. You are ruining yourself. So coming out of the military, drive on don't always apply, but get your mental health together does.
Mm.
Take the time to get your body checked out, get the medical and the dental and get the mental health that you may need to set yourself in a position where you can cope with the day-to-day operations of dealing in a civilian life. And I think a lot of veterans we miss that. We
Right.
say, "Oh, I did 4 deployments like me. I did 4 deployments. Oh, I did 4 deployments. Can't nothing break me." And then you go to a job that it ain't fast paced, it ain't stressful. And you know what I'm saying?
I know what
The,
you're saying, bro.
the people don't appear to care, and you want to bring that military out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna whoop these guys into shape. You will lose your job trying to treat civilian people like people in the military. And if you really want to go deeper than that, from my observation for what I've seen, the military ain't the same military I was in. It's a kinder, gentler, friendlier military where people don't exactly come at people the way that we came at, that we were came at. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying there's right, wrong, or indifferent. Don't misunderstand me. I understand that with different generations, people see things differently. However, the military we grew up in compared to the military now, people are a lot more kindly, friendlier. You know, if you fall and your boo boo hurt, let me take you to the chaplain or let me take you to mental health. I mean, you laughing, but that's a true story though.
I know, bro. I know.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
you know, and I get the military while they're doing that because what they're trying to do is they don't want people to lose their mind. So I get it. So again, answering that number one question, part of managing your physical and mental health needs is realizing that when you're coming out of the military, you need to stop and pause and assess who you are and then create a plan to help yourself. The second part of that is if you have PTSD, you may get treated for PTSD and you PTSD may get fixed. But you know what? You could develop anger issues. You could develop depression. You could develop a lot of stuff that could potentially lead to you becoming depressed or feeling worthless. So let's say you beat the PTSD battle. You got to watch your anger. You got to watch if you find yourself depressed, or maybe you turn into this rapid alcohol drinker, or find yourself crying and weeping for no reason, or just never want to be around people and always angry, mean, and crabby. Those are telltale signs that there may be some trauma in your life, particularly from the military, that you didn't deal with that you need to get help on. So if you start seeing those telltale signs, that's one of them ones where in your mind, mental note or raise your hand. And you know what? I need to call the VA crisis line, or I need to call my VA healthcare provider, or like for me, I get the double dip because I did 21. I got TRICARE and VA. So if the VA busy, I can call TRICARE. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I need to talk to somebody if that's the case. I'm not having that, but I realize the resources that I have. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we have to understand that. So that's how I would answer number one. It's a self-assessment, self-check of yourself. And if somebody that loves you come to you and say, hey, you acting weird, or hey, maybe you need to go talk to somebody, instead of arguing and fighting with it, just humble yourself and submit to that. Sometimes you may go talk to a mental health professional and they'd be like, well, you might have been dealing with a low anxiety. Here's some things that you can do to alleviate that or mitigate that situation. So for me, that's how I would answer question number one.
Oh,
You have to do a self check, self assessment of yourself and transition your mind from military way of thinking to regular civilian life.
all facts. And when you talk about mental health, a lot of people, even civilians, and even a lot of veterans will sit back and say combat and trauma
Yep,
and say
that's
combat.
right.
But it's a lot of people coming out of the military never dealt with being deployed or never had any combat experience. But let me sit here and tell you, as an NCO, you develop a certain type of personality because
Almost
you
definitely.
are in charge of a lot of people. So
That's
a
right.
lot of stuff as you come out of the military, as far as dealing with people and you're a leader, you don't have that same authority over the people that you're going to come in contact with. So you have to, like he said, you have to do a mental check and you're in your environment and sit back and say, this is not me. I'm not in that uniform no more. Just like I said in my last video, the military is what you've done. It's not who
Correct.
you are.
It's not who you
It's not who you are. So not everybody coming out of the military with a mental, it's things that they deal with that they have to shift their personality. Because you're in charge in the military, you have to people gonna get it done because you say get it done.
And let me add to that. My last, obviously, Bliss was my last duty station, and I was a dining facility manager for building 20226. It was at the time it was the largest building dining facility on Fort Bliss personnel wise. I had 289 soldiers. Matter of fact, let me go further than that. I had more cooks in the DFAC. I had four shifts, and I had to break it down into four shifts. That way, 1 week it was always one shift out. They could do multiple duties for their battalions or whatever. So I had three brigades, three brigade commanders. I
Mm,
had about 18 battalions I was dealing with. Now, I was in the 142nd CSSB. I had more cooks working for me than the whole battalion. The battalion only had 200 people in the battalion. Am I making sense to you?
yeah.
So you're right. The stress was amazing because you had all of these different people. And when I pulled out of that job, I remember my wife was like, this was closer to me retiring. She was like, you don't know what to do with yourself. You're like, you so used to running and having all of these people to be worried about and writing these schedules. You need to find something that make you productive. And I had to start slowing it down and realizing what you just said. That was who I was, but I was transitioning from that, moving into a different state of life. So yes, you're 100% correct. You have to make that adjustment.
Now let's move on. Number two, man. Now we talk about that stress that you had. Like, people with stress, people with disabilities, going through things in life. Are there any specific activities or exercise that can be helpful in managing that?
So yes, so here's the deal, and this is just for me. And what I'm saying is just a framework for me. You can take the framework and make in it what worked for you. I love to walk. Unfortunately, in El Paso this summer, it was too hot to walk. But generally, when we don't have 100 degrees every day the way we did this past summer, um, during the during the week, I can walk anywhere from 3 to 5 miles a day. When I get off work, I throw my earbuds in. Me, I like jazz or Christian music, and I just meditate while I'm listening to the music. And it's almost like when you get that runner's lock in when you running and you forget you running, but you running and you getting it. I can't really run anymore physically, with medical issues, knees and back. Running is just not something that's beneficial for me at this point in my life. But walking, I get a lot of enjoyment. I also get enjoyment in cutting grass, trimming the bushes in my backyard. I got some apple trees, some pear trees. You know what I'm saying? Just manicuring my yard. Also, this gonna sound crazy, but I love cleaning my car. I go to the car wash, let it run through the car wash. Then when I get home, you know what I'm saying, in the evening, I love to detail it out and clean it up, make it real shiny. But the point that I'm getting at is you have to find things that bring you peace. Now, here's the deal: the things that bring you peace shouldn't be destructive or cause destruction to other people.
Hmm. Say that
So,
again.
the things that bring you peace shouldn't cause destruction to other people. It
Right.
should be items or things that you like that actually blend in with the environment or the community that you're in and don't cause hurt, harm, or danger to anybody else.
Right.
So, so you have to find those things that build you up and it makes you happy and it gives you time to think. When I'm out there cutting the grass, like yesterday, I just, what I'm saying? Not yesterday, I'm wrong. Saturday, I just got up. Me and my wife had a little breakfast. We got to talk, and she was like, "What you about to do?" I said, "I'm about to rake the yard." She was like, "The yard don't need to be raked," and it really didn't. But guess what? Raking the yard made me happy. I threw my earbuds in. I had my music pumping. Man, I was out there raking the yard. I was like, "Man, this look good." I went to Lowe's. I bought some more grass seeds, some fall grass seeds. I got a mantis, the thing that break up the yard grass, and I hit the grass with the mantis and broke it all up. Put grass seeds in there, watered it, put a little cow manure over it. Yeah, I bought a couple bags of cow manure. Hooked it up to fertilize it. Like, man, my yard look good. You know what I'm saying? But that brought satisfaction to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Completely.
You know, also I took and I started working on my fishing rods. We got a lake here in El Paso called Escarte Lake. They're about to release the trout. The end of this month, they're going to release trout, and they put about 6,000 trout in the lake, and you can fish the trout. As soon as they put them trout in and they cool off, I'm gonna be out there fishing on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Just to go out there, chill, have a little fun. I'm gonna have my little Bose speaker, blasting little either for me it's either Christian or gospel music. But I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna fish and just relax and have some fun. Sometimes time to reflect on you and to figure your thoughts out is a good thing. Now, let me quantify that reflect. Be a reflector, but also be a doer. A lot of times we reflect and we think, but we never do. So if
Right.
it's a positive idea that you have, if it's something that could benefit you, don't just think about it, be about it.
Be about it.
That's part of the process of dealing with your disabilities or managing yourself to make you productive without feeling like you're losing your.
That's real big, big guy. Hey, what about, support systems or networks as far as it goes to self-care? What about that support? How big is that in your world?
Well, support is big. Let me tell you what I notice. You know what I'm saying? And not that I monitor this on a daily basis, but when you hear about veterans, a lot of veterans that commit suicide, if you notice for one, particularly what's been happening here in El Paso over the last couple of suicides, uh, they actually go into the VA parking lot and they committed suicide. And they will find notes or things they posted on social media stating that they felt they were alone and by themselves. And what I would say there is you have to find people you can talk to and will genuinely be honest with you. That's the first thing. If you don't have anybody that's genuinely honest with you, that's where forums like Best Let's Talk and other vet centered organizations and podcasts that talk about issues like this come into play, where you can link up with other people who've been through similar experiences as you, and you can have that dialogue to go back and forth and talk to people. So a support structure is very important. And I don't know if spouses or people going to watch this, if you got a vet in your home that's dealing with PTSD or things of that nature, when they start acting up, don't tell them they shell shocked or they damaged goods or you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, until you deploy, until you lose friends,
Hmm.
you deploy with people that don't come back with until you pull a dead body out of a Humvee, until you salute in that casket, until you running for your life, getting into a bomb shelter to make sure you don't get blown up. You can't tell nobody how to feel about that. That's one of them things you have to experience to understand.
Man, that's big.
And if you've never experienced that, you can't tell somebody they crazy because you in the middle of the night sleeping, the enemy start bombing the fob, and you in your drawers, and all you got time to do is grab your weapon and a helmet, and you know what I'm talking about. How many
Yeah.
times we did that last deployment? I lost count. You know
Too
what I'm
many.
saying? Exactly.
It becomes the
So
norm, actually.
it becomes the norm. So until you have to do that, you can't tell somebody that they crazy. I mean, just to go a little further, stuff that people don't know. Me and Hayden, this was my last deployment, which was in 2009, 2010. I thank God I didn't deploy after that. That was my fourth deployment. But me and Hayden one night were walking the child, and a 103 millimeter rocket landed in front of us, and it blew backwards, and it was like fireworks. And Don was mad at me because he was like, "Bro, you left me." I'm like, "Didn't you hear what I heard?" Well, we both took off running. But I remember EOD saying, "Man, y'all lucky. Y'all
Hey,
shouldn't."
but what did I say to you though?
And what you say to me?
When you say, "Well, hey," I say you left, and he was like, "Why didn't you run?" What did I say
He
after
said,
that?
because we were dead anyway.
We laughing, but at the same time, that came from my first deployment, and that's why you say you need to do some checks on yourself because that's really not normal at
No,
all. It's not normal at all.
no. And when I say this thing landed in front of us, it landed less than 15 feet in front of us, but it kind of blew backwards. It didn't blow forward for whatever reason. And I remember we went to the head shed, told them, we walked back up to it where it was, and everybody was like, "Y'all like walking miracles, man. Y'all shouldn't even be talking to us right now." That's a true story. That happened.
Oh,
So you got to have that support system that, let me be real with you. My wife loved me. Me and my wife been married for 23 years, thick or
oof.
thin. I will do anything for my wife. She's rocked with me through the good, bad, and ugly. I love my wife. I love my family. You know what I'm saying? And she's always been there. But my wife can never understand being deployed because she's never deployed.
All right.
However, she's a support system because when she see if she feels like my anger is getting out of control or I'm exhibiting issues that she may find alarming or concerning, she'll be like, "Hey, babe, you okay? Everything good? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you need to take a deep breath and you need to reassess what's going on. What's causing you to be angry? What's causing you to be flustered? Or what's causing you to be snappy with people?" And I thank God that I have a wife that has enough ability to, even though she didn't experience it, she has the ability to see when you ain't being your normal self, and maybe you need to go talk to somebody. That's a big thing. So you
Right.
got to have people around you that, even though they don't experience what you experience, they have the ability and the empathy to say, "Yeah, you need to get that together," or "Yeah, you need to go talk to somebody."
Exactly.
So that's my thoughts on support system.
Hey man, this was kind of a tough one for me. I can sit back and be transparent about that. And how do you maintain a balance between self-care and responsibilities? I think responsibilities or commitment you may have. Now, this is, I think, a tough question for a lot of people because this is where a lot of mental challenges come in. It's balancing the two. What do you have in
So,
place for that?
so here's the deal. I'm gonna tell y'all something, and call me. This might sound, maybe not sound the best for some people, but when you're in the military and you were sick, you know the drill. You had to go to first sergeant, and I'm just using this for comedy. First sergeant, my tallywhacker hurt. Why the tallywhacker hurt, sergeant? Well, I was messing with this chick. I'm just using this as a hypothetical. And my tallywhacker hurt. He would pull out that sick call form. Service member tallywhacker hurt, and everybody had to know your business. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That was just the way of, you know how it was before PT. Everybody that need to go to sick call fall out, and it was really embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have an issue that you don't want everybody to know, but everybody knows something was wrong with you because you fell out at PT formation for sick call.
Right.
I'm getting somewhere. Stay with me.
I got you.
When you get your civilian job, if you're in the government, I believe it's you get 230 hours if you're a vet when you initially come on to the GS, and it's called disabled veterans leave. Man, I use my disabled veterans leave for everything, bro. When I say everything, every medical thing I had, man. About 2.5 years ago, thought I had a heart attack. Had to get EKGs and they shoot the dye and stuff and run all those tests, but I still have to get tested. Some of those tests would take all day.
Mm.
I was using my disabled veterans leave to take care of all of my stuff. And here's the deal: I didn't care what people thought, because you had some people who want veterans that didn't get that disabled veterans leave, and oh man, y'all just abusing the system. I was like, no, I ain't abusing the system. I actually earned this. I worked for this. I have put my life on the line. You know what I'm saying? Forward. So if you are with a company that gives you leave based off of veterans leave, please use what's been given to you. You're not in the military no more. You don't have to prove to people that you're whore or you're gung ho, or I don't know what the Air Force and Navy and the Space Force say, but y'all get what I'm saying. You're past that point of trying to prove to people that you're who or gung ho or you're always motivated. You know what I'm saying? Like when I know some people who were in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps was better than the Army. Well, hey, if that's what you believe, great for you. Drive on. You know what I'm saying? I ain't
Yeah.
about to argue with you. You know what I'm saying? If that's, I mean, I think the Army is the greatest branch because that's the one I served in. But if you have pride within your own branch, cool, great, have that pride. I'm not gonna argue with you about it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But don't worry about people who are gonna talk or complain about you taking care of yourself. Here's the second thing, and I'm gonna tell you, and I'm just real. After your disabled veteran leave is used up, because you only get it one time when you initially join that organization, you get leave and you get medical leave. Use your vacation time. I work with people that got over 1,000 hours of sick leave, and they working on like 300 some hours of vacation. And they be like, "Boy, man, it seems like you taking leave." Yep, I take my mental health day. Some days I take days where I go for a walk. I may go get some breakfast. I may go to the gun range, shoot a couple weapons. I may go fishing. I may go get I may go get a pedicure. You know what I'm saying? Get my feet done. You know what I'm saying? But I believe in self care.
Mm.
Here's one thing I know: I can't help nobody else until I can help myself. I
Fact.
have nothing to give anybody until I've poured into myself. So we as veterans have to make sure to take the time to pour into our mind, body, and soul, getting the mental health we need, getting the medical care we need, and just pampering ourselves and doing some things that make us happy so that we have the ability to pour into other people and give them not just any kind of knowledge, but good, tangible knowledge that they can actually use and be productive.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
Appreciate you
that's
for
my
that.
thoughts on that.
Okay. Now, I like to say relationship in the mix of religion, but because it's all about that intimate connection between you and
Oh,
whatever you
oh,
believe
oh,
in.
trust me. I'm gonna get on that.
Would religion or some form of belief play a role in self care?
Yes. Let me just be honest with you. I don't like the word religion. When you look up the word religion, you can fact check me if you want. Religion simply means it's a it's a pattern of beliefs that are transferred in a community from one person to one person. I don't believe in religion. I believe in relationship.
Right.
Um, so I have a relationship with God through His Son Jesus Christ, and I ain't trying to preach to nobody, but I believe that having a relationship with God through Jesus Christ for me is the cornerstone of who I am. Because I believe that over 2,000 years ago, Jesus died on the cross and He took our sins. And I believe that, as what Romans 8, 9, and 10 says, that if you shall confess with thy mouth and believe in thy heart that Jesus is Lord, thou shalt be saved. With the mouth, confession is made, and with the heart, thou believe. That's what I believe. I believe that. So I'm telling you that for me, relationship with God is important. Am I perfect? No, I make mistakes every day, but I thank God that I have a righteous and wholesome God that forgives me. He understands my struggles. He understands my highs. He understands my lows. He understands that I genuinely care about him and I do my best to serve him every day. So for me, having a relationship with God is a cornerstone of who I am. It has taken me from looking at myself as this bad, wretchful, ignorant person, and He's given me a new view on life, that I am a redeemable person. That I'm not this super scum of the earth person. I have my flaws like anybody else, but I continue to try to grow closer to Him every day through reading His Word, through prayer, through fasting, and that has been a very great help to me. I know some people may not believe in God, but that's what I believe. And so for me, having a relationship with Jesus or God through Jesus Christ has been a cornerstone of who I am. And it lets me know that I'm a redeemable person and I can have a successful life.
That's big, man. I appreciate you for doing this interview, bro. I really do. Like, there's some things that you said, it touched me. And I hope and pray that it touched the people that have listened to. And man, I'm back to doing my interviews. If I can get you on here, just reach out to me, Let's Talk at gmail.com. Man, I'm about to close out. About to close out. I got a quote. Hope it
I got
helps
one
some.
before you finish. And let me get mine before you get yours.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Do you
All right.
think?
So Amos 3:3. It says, "Can two walk together except they agree?"
Mm.
That's Let's Talk is about agreeing. Every one of our experiences isn't going to be the same experiences, but you have a group of veterans, a team, and Hayden and his team that puts together Best Let's Talk. And all they're saying is our experiences may not be the same, our branches may not be the same, but it's strength in numbers, it's unity in numbers. So if you're not a part of this chat, if you're not a part of this, let's talk. Join on, come together. Let's agree. Let's make this not just a podcast. Let's make it a movement. And I just wanted to share that with him.
Man, it's big. Appreciate that, big body. Appreciate that, man. That made my stomach a little warm on the inside, man.
Okay.
I got a quote. Anna Taylor. Love yourself enough to set boundaries. Your time and energy are precious. You get to choose how you use it. You teach people how to treat you by deciding what you will and won't accept. Let's talk. Who's up next for formation? Out.